Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Breaking Boxes. This is Seth, your Mild Mannered Mage, coming at you with another box opening. We are continuing down the Wilds of Eldraine rabbit hole with a set booster box from the Wilds of Eldraine. Last weekend was the pre-release weekend for the Wilds of Eldraine, returning to the plane of Eldraine following Brothers War, or not Brothers War, but the events of the March of the Machine. You know, we had the nice interlude to the Lord of the Rings Tales of the Multiverse. So it's nice to be back to Eldraine with, they are a storybook, Brothers Grimm-esque plane, focusing around Arthurian legend and a lot of the familiar fairy tales from growing up. So we've got here with us today a set booster box that we are going to break into. I do prefer the set boosters over the draft boosters, just because of the mix of cards that you can get. And while I'm talking, I'm just going to go ahead and start breaking into this freshly sealed box. Well, they don't. Okay, there we go. Got a finger into it. I really prefer the opening the set booster boxes over the draft boosters. I think you've got a much better chance of hitting the cards that you're going to want to see. You can have the multi-rare, multi-mythic packs. The list cards are a lot more beneficial. I think these are overall for my purposes, because I'm mainly cracking it for Commander. I'm not big into Modern or Standard. I mean, I can play it, but it's not my favorite. So we've got here 3 stacks. So we're going to open these 3 stacks of set booster boxes and see what sort of good stuff we get. Ashiok is making an appearance in this set. Lots of interesting cards. And then there's I believe it's called the Enchanted Tales cards, which are pretty awesome. It's we're revisiting basically something that was brought out in Strixhaven with the Mystic Archives, where they're taking old cards, very powerful cards, and reprinting them with fresh artwork, and then in some cases an anime art style. For example, I know that Necropotence has been reprinted, As Foretold, Rhystic Study, Smothering Tithe has been reprinted, and Doubling Season. So lots of fantastic cards that from this, I think it's called Enchanted Tales, that there's an opportunity to get. So after the break, we are going to get into this first stack of, 3, 6, 9, 10 packs right here, 10 fresh packs, and we will see what sort of goodness we can get. So hang on, and we will get right into the pack cracking. All right, and we are back, and let's get right into the business of cracking into these packs and see what sort of goodness we can pull. I'm wondering which direction they're going to go. Sometimes the rares are at the front, sometimes they're at the back. Who knows? So, all right. We're also seeing a return of the adventure mechanic. You can cast things for their adventure cost. They get exiled, and then you can cast them from exile. So that's what this On an Adventure is. All right. So it looks like we've got the rares at the front. So here is a common foil, or not common, an uncommon foil. Sir Aramont, the Redeemer, enters the battlefield. Create a monster roll token attached to another target creature you control. When you Control another. If you control another role on it, put that one into the graveyard. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has trample, and then enchanted creatures you control get +1/+1 as well. So for a green-white commander, because Sir Airmont is legendary, that could be a fun commander deck. Then we have our Enchanted Tales, the Grasp of Fate card. When it enters the battlefield, for each opponent, exile up to one target non-land permanent that player controls until Grasp of Fate leaves the battlefield. That's pretty good. We also have a Dark Tutelage. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library. Put that card into your hand, and you lose life equal to its mana value. So kind of helping you to kind of cycle through those cards. Seasonal Growth. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. That's pretty good. When you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. So that could be good for the... I know in March of the Machine there was the Thrun card that is basically an enchantment tribal. I think it's a Voltron mono green. Yeah, actually, I got it right here that we can look at. Thrun, Breaker of Silence, can't be countered, can't be the target of non-green spells your opponents control. As long as it's your turn, Thrun is indestructible, so you just, Voltron the hell out of him. So with Seasonal Growth, you do enchantments and draw cards off of it. And then we get Rotisserie Elemental as our rare card. Single red for a 1/1 Menace. When it enters the battlefield, or whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put a skewer counter on it. Then you may sack it. If you do, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of skewer counters on it. You may play those cards this turn. All right. A Callous Sellsword. Human soldier, black and 1, burn together for an adventure. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to another target, then sack it. When it enters the battlefield, with a 1/1 counter on it for each creature that died under your control this turn. So do a massive board wipe or use this burn together spell, and then cast Callous Sellsword and get a lot of counters on it. Corvold and the Noble Thief, chapters 1 and 2 for this enchantment saga. Create a treasure. Chapter 3, exile the top 3 cards of target opponent's library. You may play those cards this turn. It doesn't say anything about using mana of any color, so I'm a little iffy on that. Agatha's Champion, green and 4 for a human knight with a bargain. It does have trample. And when it enters the battlefield, if it was bargain, it fights up to one target creature you don't control. So a little fighty mechanic going on with the bargain. Really liking this kind of bargain mechanic where you can sack an artifact, enchantment, or token as you cast the spells to get an additional effect. It's kind of like a kicker, but if you've got clues or treasures or food tokens, you can sacrifice those. And then I believe we get into our uncommons and our lands. All right. Into pack number 2. Let's see. Let's try the little Terry thing there. That didn't really do a whole lot. So let's see what else we got. Okay. Fell Horseman is our common foil. Curiosity, mono blue enchant creature. Whenever enchant creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. Goes infinite damage with Niv-Mizzet the Perun. You cast a spell or you deal 1 damage or something, and it just kind of, these bounce off of each other if Perun is enchanted with Curiosity. Cruel Somniflange, nightmare creature, black and 1. Can't wake up for blue and 1 to send it on an adventure to make an opponent, or to make target player mill 4 cards, and its power and toughness are equal to the number of creature cards in all graveyards. It's almost kind of like a consuming aberration. Provisions Merchant, 2 green and 2, enters the battlefield, make a food. When it attacks, you may sack a food. If you do, attacking creature gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Rowdy Research, blue and 6, costs 1 less to cast for each creature that attacked this turn to draw 3 cards. Picnic Ruiner, red and 1. Send it on an adventure for stolen goodies for green and 3. Distribute 3/1/1 counters among any target creatures you control. And then when it attacks, while you control a creature with power 4 or greater, it gains double strike until end of turn. That's kind of fun. And Ruby Daring Tracker looks kind of like Little Red Riding Hood. A hasty human scout for red and green. When she attacks, while you control a creature with power 4 or greater, she gets +2/+2. And she can tap for red or green. So that's kind of a fun mana dork to put into a deck. Witch Stalker Frenzy, red and 3, costs 1 less to cast for each creature that attacked, and it deals 5 damage to target creature. And then we get into our commons. Alright, pack number 3. Yeah, I know it's got a little tear thing on it, but it doesn't do as good as just kind of ripping into it. Not as satisfying either. Oh, whoops, I got that upside down. Rat token. Stroke of Midnight for our uncommon foil card. Get some of these things straightened up. White and 2, destroy target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 1/1 human creature token. Oh, wait, that is an uncommon. There we go. Prismatic Omen. So here is our rare enchanted tail. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. So that kind of helps to solve any mana problem. So that's a nice rare hit. Virtue of Loyalty for a mythic rare. So two white and 3, and then you can send it on an adventure for 1 white and 1. Create a 2/2 white knight creature token with Vigi. And then the enchantment side of it, at the beginning of your end step, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control and untap them. So that's pretty good. Gives all your creatures the vigilance. And we've got another mythic rare in this pack, so a 2 mythic pack for Talion the Kindly Lord. Fairy Noble flying. As it enters the battlefield, choose a number between 1 and 10. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value, power, or toughness equal to the chosen number, that player loses 2 life and you draw a card. That's pretty nice. The 2-headed hunter for red and 4, sending it on an adventure for a red and 1 for twice the rage. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn, and then you can cast it from the adventure to get a giant with Menache as a 5/4. Boundary Lands Ranger, red and 1. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you may discard a card. If you do, draw. Monstrous Rage, giving a creature +2/+0 until end of turn, and create a monster roll token attached to it for a single red mana. And then that gets us into our common cards. So we're hitting some pretty good stuff so far, I think so. Really digging that Talion the Kindly Lord, and that's some fun art on him as well. Alright, so let's see what the next one has for us. So now we're hitting a list card with Bladewing the Risen, 2 red, 2 black, and 3 for a zombie dragon. Flying, when it enters the battlefield, return target dragon permanent from your graveyard to the battlefield. And for Rakdos, giving dragon creatures +1/+1 until end of turn. We'll put the list cards right there. Balluna's Gatekeeper as a common foil. Griffin Airy a white and 1 at the beginning of your end step. If you gain 3 or more life this turn, create a 2/2 white griffin token creature with flying. Extraordinary Journey, 2x and 2 blue. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to X target creatures. For each of those cards, its owner may play it for as long as it remains exiled. Whenever 1 or more non-token creatures enters the battlefield, if 1 or more of them entered from exiled or was cast from exiled, you draw a turn. It triggers only once. I mean, this is okay. I mean, it kind of helps to reset the battlefield. You draw a card if they get recast. It kind of slows the game down a little bit. Dream Spoilers, black and 3 for a Fairy Warlock. Whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, up to 1 target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1. Embereth Veteran for a single red mana for a Human Knight 2/1. Pay 1 to sack it to create a young hero role. Enchanted creature gets, whenever this creature attacks, if its toughness is 3 or less, put a 1/1 counter on it. Imodane's Recruiter for red and 2 for a Human Knight, that's 2/2. You can send it on an adventure for a white and 4 for training the troops to create 2/2 white knight creature tokens with vigilance. And then the Gallant Pie Wielder for a Dwarven Knight, first striking 2/3 for a white and 2 that has Celebration. When it has double strike as long as 2 or more non-land permanents entered the battlefield under your control this turn. And then that puts us straight into our commons. All right, moving right along in this first stack of 3 with 10 in each stack. All right. Food Coma as our foil uncommon. White and 3 for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls until Food Coma leaves the battlefield, and you get to create a food. Stab Wound for a black and 2. Enchanted creature gets -2/-2 at the beginning of upkeep of enchanted creatures controller. That player loses 2. Then we have the Elusive Otter for a single blue mana, and you can send it on an adventure for Grove's Bounty for green and X to distribute X 1/1 counters among any number of target creatures you control. And then the Elusive Otter himself has Prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Creatures with power less than Elusive's Otters can't block it. Stroke of Midnight for an instant for white and 2. Destroy target non-land permanent. Its controller makes a 1/1 white human creature token. Ash Party Crasher for Boros, that's red and white, for a hasting human peasant. When it attacks, if 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, put a 1/1 counter on Ash. Belligerent of the Ball for red and 2 for an Ogre Warrior with Celebration at the beginning of combat on your turn. If 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains Menache until end of turn. And that's for a 3/3. And then we're back into our commons. So, I mean, nothing too overly exciting yet. I mean, that Talion I think is pretty good. That Elusive Otter, I really like that for a counter deck. I think you could have some fun with it. All right, then we've got our adventures. Flick a Coin is our common foil. Blind Obedience, white and 1. Artifacts and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped, and it does have Extort. So with Extort, whenever you cast a spell, you can pay a white or black, and then each opponent will lose a life, and then you can gain a life. So you could actually make an Extort deck. There's lots of cards with the Extort mechanic. We also have the End, an instant spell for 2 black and 2. Costs 2 less to cast if your life total is 5 or less. Exile target creature or planeswalker, search its controller, hand, or library for any number of cards with the same name as that permanent and exile them. So this is going to see more modern and standard play. Fairy Dream Thief for a black mana for for a Fairy Warlock flying. Enters battlefield, Surveil 1, black and 2. Exile it from your graveyard. You draw a card and you lose a life. Not really seeing a whole lot of repeats yet either. Neva, Stalked by Nightmares. White and black and 2 for a human noble with menace. She is legendary. Enters the battlefield, return target creature or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever an enchantment you control is put to a graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on her, then scry 1. And I think that works mainly like with like if you're running an enchantment heavy deck, especially with these roles that are in this this set that is coming out. There's the monster role. I think I've seen a noble role. I can't think of how to pronounce this. Eret's Tempting Apple, maybe? I don't know. 4 mana for a legendary artifact food. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. 2 mana, sack it to gain 3. 2 mana to sack it to make an opponent lose 3. That's pretty cool. I like it for the taking control aspect until end of turn. And if you have a way to blink it, you can just keep doing it over and over. Howling Galefang, 2 green and 2 for a beast. Vigilante has haste as long as you own a card in exile that has adventure. So if you're running a deck with lots of adventure cards, this would be a good way to get a 4/4 out, turn 3 or 4. I don't see anything wrong with that. And then we've got our commons. These full arts are fantastic, and I read that they are not actually drawn. These are actually like shadow boxes. So that's pretty awesome. And I think I saw where this is a signed art card. So that's pretty cool. All right, 4 more packs in this stack. See what other good stuff we get, like those night tokens. Oops. Hopeful Vigil. Ground Seal. Enters the battlefield, draw a card. Great. Cards in graveyards can't be targets of spells or abilities, so great way to turn off those graveyard decks. Bramble Familiar, I really like this card. For an elemental raccoon, you can send it on a fetch quest for 2 green and 5, mill 7, and then you get a creature, enchantment, or land from among the mill cards and onto the battlefield. I mean, that's fantastic. And then you bring him back. He's a mana dork, tapping for green, and you can pay a green and 1 to discard a card and return him to your hand and do the same thing over again. I think this is really good. Great way to cycle through your deck and try to find, your missing pieces. Stone Splitter Bolt, red and X, bargaining, deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. If this spell was bargained, it deals twice. Okay, so sack a treasure or a clue or a food. Pump 5 into it, 5 becomes 10. That's pretty simple, and I like it. Twisted Fealty, red and 2 for sorcery, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap it, it gains haste. Create a wicked roll attached to up to 1 target creature. Let's see, if you control enchanted creature gets +1/+1 when this aura is put into a graveyard. Each opponent loses 1 life. The Witch's Vanity. Okay, for Saga, black and 1, Chapter 1, destroy target creature and opponent controls with mana value 2 or less. Chapter 2, make a food. Chapter 3, create a wicked roll, a token attached to target creature you control. Okay, yeah, I mean with the mana value 2 or less, I guess that's okay. Not really going to be hitting many threats, I think. Stormkilled Vanguard, 2 green and 4 for a giant warrior. You can send it on an adventure with Bear Down to destroy target artifact or enchantment, and then it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Galvanic Giant for a giant wizard. That's pretty cool. 3 and a blue. Storm Rating for 2 blue and 5 to draw 4 and discard 2. And whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, tap target creature and opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. And then we are into those commons. All right, so 3 more packs left in this stack of 10. So let's see what else we're going to get. So it looks like we got a list card. Adela's the Cinderwind. Blue, red, and 1 for a human wizard. Flying haste. Cast an instant or sorcery spell. Wizards you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. That's not too bad. Seasonal Growth. I believe we have already talked about this one. Waste Not, that's kind of a fun enchantment. Black and 1, whenever an opponent discards a creature card, create a 2/2 black zombie. When they discard a land, add 2 black. And whenever they discard a non-creature, non-land, draw a card. Put this in a discard heavy deck. And yeah, just reap the benefits. I see nothing wrong with that. This is another card that I really like in this set. Gruff Triplets, 3 green and 3 for a Satyr Warrior 3/3, playing off the Billy Goat's Gruff. When it enters the battlefield, if it is in a token, create 2 tokens that are copies of it. So you're getting 3 creatures for 6 mana. When Gruff Triplets dies, put a number of 1/1 counters equal to its power on each creature you control named Gruff Triplets. So if one of the tokens dies, or one of the 3 dies, then the other 2 get +3/+3. And then when another one dies, then the remaining one gets, I guess, +6/+6. And that's without any counter doublers on it. I mean, this card could get ridiculous. I'd actually like to put this in my Vorinclex counters matter deck. I think that would be a lot of fun. Court of Antris, this looks like it is from the commander decks. When it enters, you become the Monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose up to 1 other target enchantment or artifact. If you're the Monarch, you may create a token that's a copy of it. If you're not the Monarch, you may have Court of Antris become a copy of it, except it has this ability. That could be fun. Disdainful Stroke to counter a spell with mana 4 or greater. Archive Dragon, 2 blue and 4 for a flying ward 2. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2. That's pretty nice. Up the Beanstalk with old Jackie Boy. When it enters the battlefield, and whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, draw a card. That's always pleasant. And then we get into those common cards. All right, so give this a little quick straighten. Bloop, bloop, bloop. And open the next pack. We'll give this another shot. Hey, there we go. There we go. Primal Vigor. This is a fantastic counters matter card. It's basically doubling season. If 1 or more tokens would be created, twice that many are created instead. If 1 or more counters would be created, twice that many counters. And that's +1/+1 counters. The only thing you gotta be careful with, and this, and it's foil, very nice, is that it is a global effect. It's not an individual effect, so you are going to be helping your opponents out as well. We also have a Compulsion, enchantment, blue and 1 to discard a card, and blue and 1 to sack it to draw a card. Virtue of Persistence, Lockwing Scorn, black and 1. Target creature gets -3/-3 until in a turn. You gain 2 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, and that's a mythic. That's pretty cool for a mythic. Gumdrop Poisoner, black and 2. Tempt with treats for a single black to create a food, and then when it enters the battlefield, up to one target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you've gained this turn. Troyan Gutsy Explorer, tap it to add green and blue to cast things with mana value 5 or greater or X cost, or a blue to tap it to draw a card, then discard a card. Tempest Harvest, scan the clouds, blue and 1 to draw 2, then discard 2. Elemental Elk, trample whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, put a 1/1 counter on it. Collector's Vault, to tap it to pay 2 to tap it to draw a card, then discard a card and make a treasure. I kind of like that. That could be useful. And then we have our common cards here in our forest. Fantastic. All right, so that is everything in the first stack. So after the break, we will be back and get in on stack number 2. We'll see you then. Hi everybody, and we are back with our second stack of the Wilds of Eldraine. I actually realized right before opening these that I missed a pack, so there's actually going to be 11 packs in this one rather than 10, because yeah, I'm a little off with my pack openings. So let's see. Okay, there we go. What we've got in this, our next stack. Okay, well, if I can get them right side up. All right, so here is some of those roll auras that you can create to attach to creatures. Restless Cottage, enters tapped. I love the art on that. Looks like a Hansel and Gretel's house. Taps for a green or black. You can pay 2 and a black-green to turn it into a 4/4 black and green horror creature that's a land. Whenever it attacks, create a food token and exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. That's pretty awesome because that hits your opponent's graveyards. Again, going into a food deck, you know, Frodo and Sam and all their hobbity goodness. We've got another Garruk's Uprising, and here we've got 3 Blind Mice. Saga for a white and 2, create a 1/1 white mouse creature token. Create a copy that's a token that's a copy of a target token you control, and creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance until end of turn. Well, that's okay for a token deck, I think. Cursed Courtier, white and 2 for a life-linking human noble that looks like he's being turned into a frog. When it enters the battlefield, create a curse roll token attached to it. Then we have a Frolicking Familiar, an Otter Wizard for blue and 2 that you can send on an adventure with blow off some steam for a red mana. Deals 1 damage to any target, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Frolicking Familiar gets +1/+1 until end of turn, so that would be good for a spell slinging deck. Hearth Elemental, a elemental creature for red and 5, sending it off on an adventure with Stroke of Genius for a red and 1 to discard your hand, then draw 2. And then this spell costs X less to cast, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard that are instants, sorceries, or have an adventure. Then we have Johann, Apprentice Sorcerer for blue, red, and 2. You may look at the top card of your library. That's pretty good. And once each your turn, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from the top of your library. So if you had something with some top deck manipulation, then that could be pretty good. I like him. And then we get into our commons. And then we have our pretty lands from this set. I like them. All right, getting into the next pack. All right, Then we have Reduce and Rubble as our list card. Tenacious Tome Seeker, blue and 2. Bargaining by sacrificing an artifact, enchantment, or token. When it enters the battlefield, if it was bargained, return target instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. That's pretty nice. Then we've got a nice Bitter Blossom. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and create a 1/1 Black Fairy Rogue creature token. That is a fantastic reprint for these Enchanted Tales. That's awesome. This is my second one from this set. The first one was the anime art that you can see in the collector booster opening that we did earlier. We also pulled a Godric Cloaked Reveler from that set. 2 red and 1 for a hasting human noble with celebration, as long as 2 or more non-land permanents entered the battlefield under your control. Godric becomes a dragon. That is a 4/4 with fire breathing. Taken by Nightmares, 2 black and 2 for an instant. Exile target creature. If you control an enchantment, scry 2. Always good to have some removal. Ashiok's Reaper, black and 3 for a Nightmare. Whenever an enchantment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you draw a card. Eerie Interference, black and 2, or white and 2, not black and 2, white and 2. Prevent all damage that will be dealt to you and creatures you control this turn by creatures. Always nice to be able to prevent some damage. And then the Splashy Spellcaster, a water-based wizard, an elemental wizard. For blue and 3, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a sorcerer roll attached up to 1 other target creature you control. And then Gadwick, who is a Merlin character from Eldraine. His first duel as a saga. Chapter 1, create a Curse Roll token attached up to 1 target creature. Scry 2, and then whenever you cast your next instant or sorcery spell with mana value 3 or less this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. That puts us into our commons and then our land. All right, so we are buzzing right along through this stack of cards. No, which way do I need to go? Okay. Token. Titanic Growth as our foil card. And then we've got a Goblin Bombardment, which is a nice Enchanted Tales reprint. Sack a creature, it deals 1 damage to any target. I ran this in my Locust God Wheels deck. You make all of the little locusts, and then you attack with them, and then you sack them to Goblin Bombardment for that double damage. Intangible Virtue, creature tokens you control get +1/+1, and Vigilante. Decadent Dragon. I am actually in the process of working Decadent Dragon into my Prosper deck. 2 red and 2, sending it off for an adventure for a black and 2, exiling the top 2 cards of target opponent's library face down. I may look at and play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. And then a Flying Trample Dragon that when it attacks, it creates a treasure token, and Prosper likes him some treasure. Welcome to Sweet Tooth, Green Saga for green and 1. Make a human creature token in Chapter 1, create a food in Chapter 2, and then put X/1/1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the number of foods you control. Again, looking at you, Samwise, and Frodo. Back for seconds, black and 2, bargaining, return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. If this spell was bargained, you may put 1 of those cards with mana value 4 or less onto the battlefield instead of putting it into your hand. Night of Sweet Revenge, green and 3 enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, make a food. Foods you control have tap, add green mana. I mean, are we just making things for the Frodo deck? Are we? 2 green and 5 to sack it. Creatures you can control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of foods you control. Again, Samwise, where are you? We're making some taters. Let's go. All right, and then that gets us into our commons. Quite a few packs left to go. Looks like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe my count is off. Okay, so some more rolls, Monster and Sorcerer. We have a foil Disdainful Stroke and a Dragon Mantle. 1 red mana to enchant a creature. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted creature has fire breathing. Pay a red, gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So that's a great way to boost up some cards. Or some creatures, rather. Spreading Seas, blue and 1 to enchant a land. Enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted land is an island. Redcap Gutter Dweller, 2 red and 2 for a menacing goblin warrior. Enters the battlefield, create 2 black rats. With this creature can't block. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sack another creature. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on Redcap Gutter Dweller and exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. That might have a place in Prosper. I'll have to play around with it and see. Tough Cookie for a food golem for a green and 1. When it enters the battlefield, create a food. Target creature, non-creature artifact you control becomes a 4/4 artifact creature until end of turn. Pay 2 to sack Tough Cookie and gain 3 life. We've already seen Greta, I believe. And then we've got a Gingerbread Hunter, green and 4 for a giant. Puny Snack for black and 2. Target creature gets -2/-2. And then when Gingerbread Hunter enters the battlefield, create a food token. And then we move into our commons. All right. Next pack up. See what sort of goodies we got here. Treasure, nice. And then a Merfolk Coralsmith as our foily common. Ooh, Shared Animosity. Love this card in a tribal deck. Red and 2. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each other attacking creature that shares a type with it. Good for those Gobos or any other tribal deck. If you just want to make a pounding army, this is the card for you. Restless Cottage in the non-fancy art. And Malevolent Witch Kite. 2 black and 4 for a Dragon Warlock. Oh yeah. Flying 5/4. When it enters the battlefield, sack any number of artifacts, enchantments, or tokens, then draw that many cards. That's kind of nice. I like that. 3 bowls of porridge, 2 mana for a food. Pay 2, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Deals 2 damage to target creature, tap target creature, or sack it to gain 3 life. So you're going to be working your way through that list until you have to sack it. Discerning Financier for a white and 2 human noble at the beginning of your upkeep. If an opponent controls more lands, then you make a treasure. I like that. Do like me some treasure. White and 2, choose another player. That player gains control of target treasure you control. You draw a card. I do not like that. Why would I want to give my opponents a treasure? Then we have an Edgewall in a land. It comes in tapped. Choose a color. Add 1 mana of the chosen color. Sack it to return target card that has an adventure on it. Always good for some mana fixing. And then our commons. Okay. Tattered Ratter. Red and 1 for a human peasant. Whenever a rat you control becomes blocked, it gets +2/+0. Knightly Valor, enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 white knight creature token. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has Vigi. Hornlock Well. 2 blue and 4 for a whale that you can send on an adventure for a blue and 1. Lagoon Beach, the owner of target attacking creature you don't control puts it on the top or bottom of their library. Flashing Ward 2, enters the battlefield tapped unless it's your turn. Okay. Tangle Span Lookout, Satyr creature, green and 2. When an aura enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. That's pretty good. Lots of auras flying around in this set. Graceful Takedown, green and 1. Any number of target enchanted creatures you control and up to one other target creature you control deals damage equal to their power to target creature you don't control. Like, that is going to be good to help do some targeted removal. Shrouded Shepherd, white and 1 for a Spirit Warrior. Cleave the Shadows to send it on an adventure for black and 1. Creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 until end of turn. And when it enters the battlefield, target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And then that puts us over into our common cards. All right, we are just moving right along. Bog Wraith for a list card from M10, Swamp Walking 3/3 Wraith. Okay, we'll put that over there into the Fey Court. Unnatural Growth, 4 green and 1. Whoa. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. I like it. And that's each combat, not just yours. So you can make some big boys all the time. Lich Knight's Conquest, black and 4, sack any number of artifacts, enchantments, or tokens to return that many creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. I like that. That's pretty good. Great way to recur your stuff. Glass Casket, white and 1, enters the battlefield, exile target creature and opponent controls with mana value 3 or less. Lots of exile effects in this set. Then we have the Princess Takes Flight, an enchantment saga. Chapter 1, exile up to 1 target creature. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains flying. Chapter 3, return exile card to the battlefield under its owner's control. That's okay. 2 white and 3 for Dutiful Griffin, for a Griffin creature, flying 4/4. Sack 2 enchantments to return it from your graveyard to your hand. That's okay. Woodland Acolyte, white and 2 for a human cleric. Mend the Wilds to send it on an adventure as an instant. Put target card from your graveyard on top of your library. That's always a good thing. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. So there you go. You cast it as an instance. To get the card on the graveyard to the top of your library, and then cast it as the creature to put it instantly into your hand. Royal Treatment, target creature you control gains hexproof until end of turn. Create a royal roll. And then that puts us into our commons. And Frizzle just popped in and just popped out. I guess she didn't want to hang out. All right. Oh, I really like that elemental 4/4 token. Another Greta Sweet Tooth. Oh, a Ristic Study. Nice Enchanted Tales reprint. Nice hit on this one. Utopia Sprawl. And I feel like we've already seen these. Threadbind Click, blue and 3. Rip the Seams for white and 2, destroy target tapped creature. That's pretty good. For a 3/3 flyer. Sir Aramont, I believe we've seen, and Red Tooth Vanguard. I think we are getting to the point where we have seen most of these. So these last couple, I think, are going to go pretty, or at least these are going to start going pretty quick now. Oh, and it helps if I don't hit the camera. All right. Food token. Archon's Glory. Dark Tutelage. Yep, we've seen Dark Tutelage. Questing Druid we have seen. Old Fitter Fangs. So yeah, we've seen some of these already. So we'll just kind of move through them. Ooh, Geese's favorite shovel. And it's a special one. Ooh, interesting. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and menace, and whenever equipped creature attacks, defending player sacks a creature. If they do, create a walker token. Oh, you know what? I bet this is a it's the reprint of oh, now I can't think of her name. The bat from Walking Dead. I should know this. Lucille the bat. She's a vampire bat because she drinks blood. Oversold Cemetery. Very nice. Seasonal Growth. Thunderous Debut. Yeah, a lot of these we have already done the seeing of it. Very nice. All right, and then this is the last pack for this stack. That leaves us 10 cards remaining, or 10 packs remaining after this one. Let's see what we've got. Oh, oops, wrong spot. Forced Fruition. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player draws 7 cards. That would be hilarious. Especially put it in... oh, no, I've made a mess here. What is his name? The Snake Leviathan, where if an opponent draws a card outside of their first one, you make a snake. All right. And I think that is it. All right, so that is everything from this second stack. After the break, we'll hit our third stack and see what sort of goodness we'll have. We'll see you then. And we are back with our last stack of Wilds of Eldraine set booster pack openings. So we are down to our final 10 packs. So let's get into it and see what sort of goodness we can get out of them. Let's see. Here we go into the first pack. I really do like this beast, the art on this beast token. I think they did a fantastic job with it. I mean, that's just beautiful. It's very reminiscent of like the Chinese dragons, I think, with the way that the head is done. I mean, it is fantastic. I really like that. And we have a Gallant Pie Wielder, which I believe we've already seen in this pack. We've got another Impact Tremors whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control. No, I don't think we've seen an Impact Tremors. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, Impact Tremors deals 1 damage to each opponent. Great in any mono or any red color token deck. Locust God, this would be fantastic in. Goblins, just start pumping out the tokens and dealing damage across the board. And then we've got a Restless Biovac. enters the battlefield tapped. Add a red or a white, and then you can pay Boros and 1 for it to become a 2/2 red-white Ox creature token until end of turn. And when it attacks, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Nice. Now this one I don't think we've seen. Twinning Twins. 2 blue and 2 for a Fey Wizard that you can send on an adventure with Swift Spiral for a white and 1. Exile target non-token creature, return to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step, and then it is a 4/4 flying Vigi Ward 1. So that's pretty nice. So this would be great in a Blink style deck. Cheeky House Mouse, white for a 2/1 that you can send on an adventure with Squeak By for a single white. Target creature you control gets 1/1 until end of turn. It can't be blocked by creatures with power greater 3 or greater this turn. Twisted Sewer Witch, 2 black and 3. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 black rat creature token. Then for each rat you control, create a Wicked Roll attached to that rat. That's pretty good. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1, and when this aura is put into a graveyard, each opponent loses 1 life. That might be good in a rat deck, just to be able to kind of buff the rats some. The rat deck that I run is Marrow Gnawer with Rat Colony, and they're just very fragile 1/1s that get +1/+0 for each other rat, so making them 2 power or 2 toughness would be helpful, I would say. So that's a maybe for that deck. Tattered Rattered, which we have already seen, and then there's our boy Ginger Brute, who is a common in this set. Okay, into that next pack. I tell you, these packs I've had such a hard time getting into. It's like some sets, the packs just want to fly open, and others, you gotta work it. Okay, there we go. And here we have another As Foretold, which I really like. I think this came out in Amonkhet. So at the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on it. And once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a spell you cast with mana value X or less, where X is the number of time counters on As Foretold. So each turn you get a free spell, and then if you start making copies of As Foretold, then you can get multiple free spells. So that's really nice. I like that. A Tale for the Ages. Let me make sure I just didn't do something bad. No, I didn't. Okay. A Tale for the Ages, white and 1. Enchanted creatures you control get +2/+2. So that would be good in any enchantment aura deck. I mean, this set is running hard in auras with those rolls. One of the guys in my play group actually runs a Uriel deck. It's Uriel the Miststalker. Don't really see him a whole lot, but that's all about buffing with enchantments, so that would give him another buff. Picklock Prankster, which I believe we have seen. Chancellor of Tales, blue and 3 for a Fey Advisor. Whenever you cast an adventure, you may copy it and choose new targets. I like that. Ego Drain, we have seen. Love that art. I would almost say it's not. It's Valera Lutfelina. I would almost say that looks like Seb McKinnon art, though. That is beautiful. Really like that. To Tenzin the Swarm Piper, human warlock bard. When it or another non-token creature you control dies, make a rat. Black and 1. Target attacking rat you control gains death touch until end of turn. Okay. Lord Skitter's Butcher. A rat peasant with a chef hat on it. I love it. Is Remy from Ratatouille. Black and 2. When it enters the battlefield, choose one, create a 1/1 rat. You may sack another creature. If you do, scry 2, then draw a card. That's pretty nice. Creatures you control gain Menache until end of turn. And then that puts us into our commons. Okay. Well, you know, it worked the last time. Okay, there we go. Another food token, Utopia Sprawl, which we have definitely seen. Gifted Airy, we have seen. Ingenious Prodigy, blue and X. Have not seen this one. Blue and X for a 0/1. Skulk can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Okay. Enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it. Okay. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Ingenious Prodigy has one or more 1/1 counters on it, you may remove a 1/1 counter from it. If you do, draw a card. Okay. So that's pretty cool. So you could cast it for a large amount and then just start pulling the 1/1 counters off of it to draw a card. I like that. That would be really good in just about any blue deck. Oh, I put it in the wrong spot. Okay. Callous Sellsword, black and 1, burned together for red. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to any other target, then sack it, and then enters battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it for each creature that died under your control this turn. Nice. Corvold and the Noble Thief. Saga, red and 3, chapters 1 and 2, make a treasure. Chapter 3, exile the top 3 cards of target opponent's library. You may play those cards this turn. That would be really good in Prosper. I think making the treasure, just having the extra mana, and then being able to yoink someone's top 3 from their library, you get some good stuff that way. And you know, even if you don't get anything good, then you could at least deny them those cards. And one thing I really like about this too that makes it so good in Prosper is it says you may play those cards, so that lets you get lands too. So don't forget about that. And I got this champion and then into our commons. So the thing with where we are in this box is we're starting to see a lot of repeat cards. You know, things that we've already seen. The Royal and Young Hero rolls. Ooh, nice. Ooh, that's a pretty Evolving Wilds. Very nice. Curiosity. Virtue of Knowledge. Blue and 4. It's doing an adventure for Adventurous Visions for blue and 1. Copy target activated or trigger ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. Oh, this is the blue Panharmonicon ability. So that's pretty awesome. I think we have seen that already in this box, but it's cool to have another one. Abira, the Dreaming Duelist. Flash flying. Whenever another fairy enters battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1. Good for those Fade X. Picnic Ruiner. Red and 1. Stolen Goodies for green and 3. Distribute 3 1/1 counters among any number of target creatures you control. When Picnic Ruiner attacks while you control a creature with power 4 or greater, it gains double strike. Okay. That's pretty good. Ruby Daring Tracker we've seen. Witch Stalker Frenzy we've seen. And then into our commons. All right. And then we have the ferocious Mrs. Frizzle, who is joining us, right? Who's barking at something scary. Alrighty, so we are moving right through and almost done with this pack. Oh, and then here is a list land. Nivik's Area of the Fire Mine. Ooh. Tap it for 1 colorless, blue and red, and 2 to tap it to exile the top card of your library. Until your next turn, you may cast that card if it's an instant or sorcery. Okay, so playing off of Nivik's. Threadbind Click. Vampiric Rites. We've already seen Vampiric Rites. We've seen multiple Gumdrop Poisoners. Fairy Fencing, Black and X. Target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn. That creature gets an additional -3/-3 until end of turn if you control a fairy as you cast this spell. Wow. So you could just do this for 1 if you have a fairy, and everything just gets, or target creature gets -4/-4. So that's pretty awesome, especially in those Fey decks. Dream Spoilers we've seen. Fairy Dream Thief we've seen. Two-Headed Hunter. Boundary Lands Rogue. And there we go. Okay. Another list card, Wolfcaller's Howl. At the beginning of your upkeep, put X 2/2 green wolf creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is the number of opponents with 4 more cards in your hands. That's pretty cool. I like that. Very nice. Another Italian, the Kindly Lord. In foil, I like that. Oh, a nice Omniscience. 3 blue and 7, you may cast spells from your hand without paying their mana cost. So this is just a great way to dump cards out of your hand. Just boom, 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 boom. I mean, if you're not winning once you cast Omniscience, something wrong. Fawn's Bane Troll. I don't think we've seen this one. Black and green and 2 for a troll. Enters the battlefield, create a monster roll attached to it. Pay 1 to sack an aura attached to it. And it fights target creature you don't control. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. Okay. Ogre Chitterlord. Enters the battlefield or attacks, create 2 1/1 black rat creature tokens. Then if you control 5 or more rats, each rat you control gets +2/+8 until end of turn. That's pretty cool. Fey Slumber Party, 2 blue and 4. Return all creature to their owner's hands. For each opponent who controlled a creature returned this way, you create 2 1/1 blue fairy creature tokens with flying, and this creature can block only creatures with flying. That's that's pretty awesome. I like that. So return all creatures to their owner's hands, and for each opponent. So if you're in a pot of 4, then you're going to get 6 blue Fey that can attack the next turn, or that turn if you have something that can give them haste. That's pretty good. I really like that. That's a great defensive spell there. Monstrous Rage, Ember Breath Veteran, Imidane's Recruiter, the monstrosity. The monstrosity of it all. Oh my goodness. When it dies, make a food token. That's kind of funny. All right. That's too funny to be just a common card. I'm sorry. Oh, the monstrosity. Okay, let's get into this. And then 3 packs remaining after this one. Okay, let's see. Is it this side? Yes. All right. Lord Skitter, the Sewer King. We've already seen that bad boy. Devouring Sugar Maw. The food that fights back. 2 black and 2 for a horror. Send it on an adventure have for dinner to make a 1/1 white human creature and a food token. Menacing trample at the beginning of your upkeep. Oh, whoops. I just dropped a bunch of cards. Hang on. Okay. Well, these are all going to be out of order. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sack an artifact, enchantment, or a token. If you don't, tap it. Okay. Storyteller Pixie, another Gallant Pie Wielder, Stroke of Midnight, Ash the Party Crasher, and then let's make sure that these are all... Okay, there we go. Alright, 3 packs remaining, and that will be this box of the Wilds of Eldraine. Edgewall in. Another Primal Vigor, very nice. OG Art Devouring Sugar Maw. Nevia. Storm-Killed Vanguard. And Brave the Wilds. Okay, yeah, so we're really starting to hit into stuff that we've seen over and over again, so... hopefully these last couple of packs will give us some good surprises. Maybe we'll hit another mythic. Something great. Raid Bombardment. Well, I say we might hit another mythic, and here we go. Moonshaker Cavalry, 3 white and 5 for a Spirit Knight. Enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain flying and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. So this is great with your go wide tokens. So this is a basically it's a white Crater Hoof, giving your creatures flying and +X/+X. I mean, this is fantastic right here. Why wouldn't you put this in a token deck that has white in it? Why wouldn't you put it in any deck with white in it? I mean, this is, holy cow. Yeah, that is fantastic. All right. And there we go. And the last pack, maybe we'll hit another mythic. Let's see if I can do that again. Oh, that was hilarious. Okay. Garruk's Uprising. Okay, no mythic. Sleep Cursed Fae. Disdainful Stroke, Archive Dragon, Up the Beanstalk, and then we're into our commons. So there we go, that's it. So no last pack mythic, just the next to the last pack. So we got some pretty nice things in this box of Wilds of Eldraine. I mean, this is a pretty... I mean, that Moonshaker Cavalry, you know, definitely I think is a highlight of this box. We've got the Primal Vigor. Well, let's go ahead and pull some of these out. You know, the As Foretold, the Omniscience is a great hit. Talion. So lots of great things. There's an As Foretold. Lots of great things coming out of this set. What has been your favorite card so far that you've pulled, or that you've played from Wilds of Eldraine? I'm going to keep doing that. Give us a like, give us a comment, let us know what you have thought about this set so far. I mean, we've got fantastic reprints with this Enchanted Tales that they have done, very reminiscent of the Mystic Archive from Strixhaven. So lots of great things coming out of this set. I mean, good grief. I wish I could buy more just to be able to get those, all of the Enchanted Tale cards. But, you know, we had some good hits, and I appreciate y'all sticking out with me for this set. And as a thank you for watching this video, here are a couple of arena codes for you. So be sure to check those out and enjoy those packs for me. In the meantime, this is Seth, your Mild Mannered Mage, wishing everybody some happy gaming, and we'll see you on the next video.